Judgment is here to support those that need a safe space to speak their truth and rawness to the world. Tune in, relax, take notes, and let's vibe. Here are your hosts, Uncommon Women.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in to Uncommon Women. I am your host, Shanera, and I'm super excited about our guest speaker that we have joining us today. We have Natasha Bryant, which is a licensed mental health and confident mindset expert. She has experience for over 14 years of training and experience to guide people through the journey of healing and growing. She's the CEO of Speak Life Transformation, a founder of the Unapologetic Living University, and she equips professional women with the tools to conquer doubt and fear with a confident mindset. So today she's going to be encouraging others to start a business and share the rawness of the ups and downs in the business world. So thank you so much, Natasha, for coming on today. How are you doing today? Oh, I can't hear you.
Sorry, I had it on mute.
There we
I'm
go.
good. Thank you for having me. I appreciate the invitation. I'm excited for the conversation.
Yes, I'm super excited for having you. We had Natasha as a vendor last year for our self-love seminar, and she came and spoke about, her brilliance of how she started Speak Life Transformation. So I'm super excited about today's talk today as well. Before we get into the good stuff, can you tell us a little about your childhood and how it was growing up?
Yeah, so I am part of a blended family. I growing up, my biological father passed when I was a baby, and my dad, don't even call him stepdad, but my father stepped in and cared for me, and so I was raised with my mom, my dad, and my sister, and then that marriage ended, and then my father married my stepmother, and then that's when I had my brother and my sister. So it's four of us, and I grew up in for my mom's side with a family of entrepreneurs. My grandfather, owned our family barbershop. His brother owned his own barbershop. And then within our family barbershop with my grandfather, my mother, and my uncles worked in the shop. So it was a very family oriented business. And I
Okay.
grew up around that. But entrepreneurship was definitely not something that was on my radar, something that I wanted to do. But I definitely was around a lot of that. And my grandmother was my mother's mother, educator. She was a teacher, and so definitely living in a space where there was a lot of excellence happening, and working hard. Nothing was ever done for free. Like anything I did, people would think that I was spoiled because I had a lot of things, but I look at them like I had to work for this. Like I had to do chores, I had to do X, Y, and Z. There was nothing given to me for free, which I totally appreciated because that helped me just be on the grind and really go after what I wanted when I wanted something, recognizing that if you're going to get it, you have to work for it. Nothing's going to be handed to you. So definitely a hustling spirit within the family that I was raised in for sure.
Okay. Okay. So did your brother get free cups or he had free haircuts or he had to work for that too?
No, so my brother is my father's son and my stepmom's sons. My mother is the barber. So
Oh, okay. So they didn't get no
yes, that was
privilege.
my yeah. So no, he didn't get the hookups. He wasn't. That was my mama's child. But my nieces and nephews get the hookups for sure. My sister has two boys. Not my nieces and my nephews, my nephews. My sister has two boys and a girl. And so yeah, my nephews would get hookups for sure.
Okay, okay. I love it. I love it. Keeping it in the
Mhm.
business, keeping it in the
Yeah.
family with the business with entrepreneur. So
Mhm. Mhm.
let's talk about that. What confirmation or what type of knowledge did you receive for you to want to actually start your own business? Being as though you came from an entrepreneur world and you was like, nah, that's not for me. I just want to live a normal life. Where was the transition in your life?
Yeah, so I tell people this all the time. This was not on my bucket list. This was not on a goal. This was not a dream. My dream was to work full time in the schools, part time in private practice, and then eventually retire. Not retire, but eventually leave schools full time, work in private practice full time, and retire as an outpatient therapist in private practice, but not my own practice, somebody else's practice. That was the goal. And so I had a plan. If anybody else out there are planners, you put me too in the chat if you're watching this. I was definitely a planner. So I had a whole plan and it was working. The plan was working. Things were falling in line in place. And then things started to shift. I was at this one job that I was at for about 3 years. And I was going to plan to stay about 2 more years, maybe a year longer, before I transitioned to my phase two, my plan. And then things started getting toxic out of nowhere. And I was like, God, are you trying to tell me it's time for me to move? And I was like, maybe not. Maybe I'm just like, and I was like, are you trying to tell me I'm comfortable? Like I should be moving now and not later.
Right.
And then things started continue to get toxic. And so for me, I thought God was just telling me to move in the sense of this place, not necessarily leave what I was doing, but the field that I was in or the work that I was doing, but to leave that toxic work environment. And so I shifted, I took the leap, left that with no plan because that wasn't part of the plan. Left that with no plan because I realized I have to go because the environment is definitely trying to pull me down.
Right.
And I got a job immediately, which is hard when you're working in school. So I left early school year, like October is when I was looking for another job. And for those who
That's in
work in
the
schools,
middle of that's literally just when school starts.
listen, exactly. So those who work in schools, trying to find a job that early in the game at a school, especially in my field, school social workers, they don't ever leave. They retire. They're there for life. There's only one per school a lot of times, maybe two. And so but I was able to find a job, and I knew that that was my first kind of like leap that I took, like trusting God. And I know where I was going, but I knew I had to leave there. And I really thought that from God, like, it's time for you to shift and move. So I thought that was my move. I thought that was me, where I'm shifting to the next part.
Being obedient, right?
Being obedient, right? I didn't stay, I left. So then I got another job in a school setting and I was back on my plan, right? Work at school full time, then eventually leave and then do outpatient therapy full time. And so I was like, all right, it's time for phase two. So I'm thinking to myself as I'm getting ready I've been at this other job for a few years now. And as I guess I realized it's time for me to transition. So I'm thinking, all right, where am I going to apply? What kind of practice do I want to join? I was already part of a group practice part-time, and I was looking to do another one to have at least two, to be part of two practices. With social workers, we're hustlers. We don't ever put all our eggs in one basket.
Right.
So looking to be part of another practice. And as I'm thinking about like what kind of practice I want to join and where do I want to apply, God downloaded on me. He said, why are you about to apply? Why are you about to give another practice a percentage of your worth when you could take the whole 100%?
Come on,
And I
let's
was like,
go.
you know what, God? You're right. Why am I about to do that? Why am I about to give another practice part of my worth when I can take the whole 100%? So that was in October of 2020. And I just took that and went with it. No hesitation, no doubt, fear in the sense of I don't know what I'm doing about building a business. Granted, yes, I grew up with entrepreneurs, but I wasn't in the business game with them. I was a kid. Like I didn't know what was happening behind the scenes. And so I just went hard in learning about building a business. I took classes. I took at least twice a week, free classes that were available through the Small Business Association, and learned about how to start a business, learn about the legal aspects of everything. And then by December, I got my LLC. And then by March of 2021, I had my first client.
Let's go. Let's go.
Yeah.
Well, how was the first client? Like the trial and errors in regards to having your first client now? You're coming from being a school social worker, correct? So is it the same aspect for having your own practice, or is it, different communications in regards to that for like a one-on-one client?
Yeah, it's different in the sense of, so like I was school social worker, school counselors. I was anything mental health related. I was in schools, but part time I was doing outpatient therapy. And
Okay.
so I was already with a private practice. I was already with a group practice. I'm actually still with this group practice. And
Okay.
so working in a practice, I was able to understand the ins and outs of not necessarily how to run a practice, but the things that is needed to see clients, build caseloads, etc. So doing that aspect wasn't that hard because I was already in the field as a contracting
Okay. Right.
therapist with a private practice already. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
So, can you explain to women that want to start their own business or maybe possibly started their business and, are getting discouraged from not having enough clients or um,
Mhm.
nobody's supporting them or just not
Yeah.
being
Yeah.
able to, they want to fully go into their own business and not work full time, just focus on their
Mhm.
business, but the money's not coming in. Can you talk
Mhm.
about what they can
Mhm.
do around those seasons or, what kept you motivated during that time? Because as an entrepreneur, it happens for all of us, right?
Yes. The ups and downs are real for sure. I feel like every day is either up or down. It might be both in one day.
Right.
Um, yeah, and this is what I love to do, like just as a therapist, but then even more so now that I have become an entrepreneur and I recognize how much harder it hits in this type of choice of life that we choose as entrepreneurs. One of the things I love to do is just talk to individuals about building their esteem and like knowing how to confidently go after what they want, right? With a level of certainty. And I feel like as an entrepreneur, I learned so much more about that within myself, even more than I even thought I did. And I think for me, what has helped me have that had that confident mindset is every single day I remember this was not my idea, it was God's. And so if God put this on my heart and if he led me here, then it's gonna work out. Because remember,
Right.
y'all, I did not want to own a business. This was not my thing. Not saying I don't love it now. I totally love what I'm doing. I totally see as a result of me taking that leap, I have become more informed of my purpose, which is another thing, is because what also motivates me is that I know this is where I'm supposed to be. And I constantly seek God for that guidance and the wisdom on how to keep going, what to be doing next, and not trying to figure it out all on my own. But going back, I say this a lot of times when I'm speaking. One of the main things, the first thing I would say is first understand why, right? What is your why? Why are you doing this? Why did you start this in the first place? Why did you have this passion, this level of energy and excitement about this in the first place for you to even want to do it? And because when things get tough, you're gonna forget the why. You're gonna be like, "Wow,
Mhm.
what's the point? Nobody's even showing up for my classes. I done put 5 things on social media. Nobody's even liking it, or nobody's even showing interest, right? Or I'm putting flyers out. Or I'm doing all these things. I'm not getting the response that I'm looking for. Maybe this is not for me. Maybe I shouldn't be doing this. Maybe I should. I was mistaken, and this is not what I'm supposed to be doing." And so you can immediately forget the why, which is your motivator. Your why is your motivator because it's going to constantly remind you your purpose in this whole thing, why it's important to you. So that's really big. And for me, recognizing like this was that God literally put this on my heart. And from there, things have flourished and things have come out that I didn't even recognize within myself. I knew these things about me, but I didn't look at them as gifts. I didn't recognize them as part of connecting me to my purpose. And so those different things really help me stay focused when I'm ready to quit. Because listen, those thoughts do
Life
pop
be
up
lifing,
for sure.
right? I
Yes,
love I
yes,
love how you spoke about the purpose because I feel like some people forget that when it's your purpose and passion, it doesn't feel like work. It doesn't feel like a job. So
exactly.
if you really enjoy it and it's really your passion and your purpose, you won't be so discouraged because you're enjoying what you're doing. So
Yeah,
you
yeah.
can't let temporary seasons discourage you from
Hmm.
a long-term goal, especially if you've got
Right,
a confirmation from God. Like,
right,
he
right.
always comes through. I don't know about anybody
Hmm.
else's life, but I know my father, he comes through. And we have certain seasons when it's going to be down. Like that's just a
Yeah.
part of being an entrepreneur. You're going to have those
Hmm.
seasons, but when you're confident in who you are and you know that your passion is something that you enjoy doing, you shouldn't be discouraged about when you have those down seasons because multi-businesses have down seasons as well. Stock
Yeah.
market, what
Yeah.
they do, go up and down.
Yeah. 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 And I think too, the challenge too is to make sure that you're doing something you actually are passionate about. One of the things I teach in my coaching course, it's called Legacy Launch, and also when I'm doing therapy, is I challenge my clients to really think about what are your core values, because many times we set goals that are not really aligned with what we truly value and who we really are at the core. Many times we have goals that we've had for like 10 years. Maybe 10 years ago we weren't able to achieve them because we didn't have the resources. Now we have the resources and we're going after it because now we have the ability, but then we didn't really
Right.
check, well, is this still important to me? Right. Or we have a goal because it sounds good, right? This is a goal I should be having because based on what people say or based on what other people are doing
Mm,
that are my age or that are in my type of lifestyle or circle or what have you, they're doing this. So maybe this is what I'm supposed to be doing. Or, or my family, this is traditionally what my family has always done, or everybody's done doing this, and maybe that's what I should be doing. And so if you get caught in those should thoughts of, well, maybe this is what I should be doing, or you're getting caught up in the safety, right? If
mm,
you're this the scarcity mindset of, well, being scared of losing or lacking or not having enough of, well, if I have this job, I'm gonna make enough money, or if I have this type of career, then I'll have this amount of finances or security. And it's not really something you truly want at the core.
right.
And that might be where the discouragement is coming from. You're lacking the motivation, not because it's hard or that you're in a rough patch, but you might be lacking the motivation because it's not truly what you want to do at the core. And so knowing your values is so important to make sure you are following the right purpose, the right path. Because if you're not following the right path, you're not going to follow your actual purpose.
That's good. Staying aligned with your purpose is
Mhm.
very important.
Mhm.
I think
Mhm.
the enemy sometimes comes in and tries to give us opportunities that take us away from where God wants us to be. And
Yes.
then if you're not solely getting that confirmation from him, or having that foundation of knowing this is what my purpose is, this is what I'm called to do,
Mhm.
this is what
Mhm.
we're going to stay focused and aligned with, you can easily
Mhm.
be swayed off to other things, and then that takes away what he's trying to
Yes.
do for you. So I think we also have to have a little bit of discernment being an
Mhm.
entrepreneur, and knowing when it's aligned with what you're doing and your purpose, or if it's an opportunity to get you away from what God wants you to do. That's good, girl. I love
Yes.
that.
Yes. Yeah. For sure. For sure.
So speak on, because I know you said your family is entrepreneurs, but where do you get your motivation from? Because like you said, this wasn't something that you wanted to do.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
now it's
Yeah.
it's been blossoming since you actually started
Mhm.
and took the leap
Mhm.
out of faith. And
Yeah.
where do you get your motivation from?
Yeah. I think for me, I have I'll have like a dream or a goal or a vision of something. And if I say I'm going to do something, I really want to see it all the way through. Right. And I think for me, even now, what motivates me more is that vision or a dream that I have. I feel very secure, and that's what I'm supposed to be doing. That's my motivation, really. It's like, nope, we're gonna follow this through because you love doing this, right? If it's something, like one thing I've always said, right, is that like from the door. So my background's in social work. From the door, from like starting social work in undergrad until today, right? It's something I am truly passionate. I'm a diehard social worker. Like I love the field of social work. I love what it stands for. I love the ethics of it all, right? And I've always said that I know deep in my heart social work is what I'm supposed to be doing, right? I know this is what I love. I truly enjoy it. And so if I'm working somewhere and all of a sudden it's having me question if I even like social work, it's starting to have me question if I need to try a whole nother field because this isn't working, then I know I gotta leave this job because this is not, I know for sure it's not truly that I don't love it. It's the environment that's
The
causing me now to
environment.
question
Mm.
what I love, right? And so when that has like that last job, when I was like I had to go because it was toxic, it started having me not enjoying my job anymore. And I'm like, wait, I know I love what I do. So when I stopped liking what I'm doing, I realized it's not the actual field or the role that I'm doing. It's something within the environment that's stopping me. So one of the things I do, one thing that motivates me is just to really stay focused on doing what I love and not allowing anything or anyone to pull me from doing what I love, because that's when you get lost. That's when you end up
Mm,
getting detached from your own voice. That's when your voice starts to become silent. That's when you start to get confused and disconnected with who you are and what you want. That's what causes you to start to lose your authenticity as well. And so me, for my motivation, is just like always showing up as my authentic self, doing what I love, and really not getting distracted or lose focus of that. Because once I start doing that, then I'm not, now I'm just following the tribe. Right now, I'm just doing mediocre things, and I'm not being extraordinary with the work that I'm doing.
I love that. How do you balance the work-life balance with having the motivation of doing what you love, but also
Mhm.
taking the time to love and enjoy doing as a hobby what you enjoy doing for yourself?
Yeah. To be honest, initially it was a struggle, because when you first become an entrepreneur, well, at least for me, I can't speak for everybody else, but for me, when I first went into it, I was like, I'm gonna have all this time. I can control my own time. I can be able to do what I want to do. I got my own schedule. And I'm like, wait a minute, I work more. I
You
work
do.
more hours. Wait a minute. I'm working more than 8 hours. Before it was
Right.
clock in, clock out, I'm done. Come home, do it, put my feet up. It's like, no, put your feet up. Well, you got things you gotta
Everything.
do still. You're the market, you're the accountant, the marketing expert, the SEO
Right.
expert,
Follow-up calls, interviews.
the virtual assistant. So I realized, like, girl, like, you gotta start, you gotta put it down. So initially, my first year, so I'm in year 3.
Okay.
And so my first year was, I was like just grinding. And even when I had, like, I intentionally had like a day that was just for, like, I'm not seeing clients on this day, and I stuck to that. But then I would fill it up with meetings, I would fill it up with other activities. And my
You
fiance
speaking
would
my
always be like,
language right now.
yeah, and my fiance would be like, I thought you were off on Fridays. Like, well, technically I am. I'm not seeing clients, but I have meetings and I have these
It's a
other
short day
things.
though. It's just how don't be like it's a short day compared to my normal day.
Right, right. It's not as busy. I'm not using a whole lot of mental capacity because I'm not seeing clients, right? So I had to, like, I definitely had to check myself. And I had to, and again, even before entrepreneurship, I was really big on my schedule. I put something on my schedule and I'll follow through on it. I became an entrepreneur and I just forgot all about organization and scheduling. It's just like, because you get so consumed about all the things you have to do, especially when you're starting it up. Now I'm no longer in the startup phase. I'm just now like trying to, like, just expand. And so I'm doing better now with definitely staying honoring my schedule. And I coach this a lot. I speak to clients a lot about this, a lot about managing a routine and having those structures and systems. I'm a very organized person, which and we had talked about this offline, about one of the things that, as a result of me jumping, taking this leap into what God has put on my heart. There are things I just thought was like typical skills, like me being organized, and not realizing that, no, these are gifts, and this is why you can now, like, you can run a business, because you're an organized individual. That's just not a basic skill, that's a necessity, and it's a gift that's helping you in this way. And so just really honoring, just setting boundaries for myself, like, nope, Tasha, you said you wasn't going to see a client on this, or nope, Tasha, you said you was. So, like, I also talk, when I do boundary coaching, I'm always like, boundaries not always just for you to set boundaries to somebody else and say, like, you can't stop, who goes there, like, you're not going this far with me. No, boundaries also is for you to tell yourself, stop, halt, who goes there,
Yes.
we said we're not going to do this. And you got to, and honor that. So those are some of the ways that I definitely been able to make sure that I still have my personal life. And my fiance holds me accountable too. He's always like, I thought you said you wasn't gonna work. Are you still working? I'm like, I am getting done now, I promise. I'm I'm shutting it down now. So he holds me accountable too. But yeah, so that the boundaries for me, honoring my schedule, that helps me with the that balanced life.
Okay, okay. So can you speak on any sacrifices you may have had during this journey of, being an entrepreneur and, still because you're still working, are you working part-time at the licensed place, or do you do it like, do you have like just certain clients that you work with?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the sacrifice that I made. So yeah, I do at the practice. I'm part time, but I'm
Okay.
contracting. So it's part time, but it's
You make
contracting.
your own schedule.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Um, yeah, I would say the sacrifice I had to make was I had to make a huge financial sacrifice. I was at one point the year I started my business. I was still working full time at the school. I was working part time at that practice, and then
Mhm.
I also had my practice part time. So I had three
Ooh.
streams of income coming in, and then I went from that I left the full time job and I went into my practice full time and then with the private practice part time. But within therapy, it's there's no salary. Like you get paid when
Mhm.
you see a client. So like any other medical field, clients cancel, or things come up and they may not be able to come for their appointment. And so it's not like there's this constant stream of income coming in that sense. And so I took a huge financial sacrifice and just trusting and having to really adjust to that. Going from being really comfortable financially to really like having to like be really strategic and budgeting financially, and that was a huge adjustment for me because I not able to do the things that I usually would like to do,
Right.
and having to try, and that really and still does, to be honest, and you really put a lot of trust in God that He is going to make a way out of no way. And things are gonna work out. um, and so that would I would have to say was like a huge sacrifice for me of like just going from a lot to a little, which the Bible talks about that all the time. That I said it out loud. I see you,
Yes.
God. Okay.
Yes, yes, yes. And like I said earlier, it's temporary, you know?
Mhm.
These
Mhm.
seasons are
Mhm.
definitely temporary because he'll get you back based off of him letting you know this is what you're supposed to
Yeah.
be doing. You'll get back to that without working
Mhm.
so hard.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure. For sure. I believe it. For sure. Yeah.
So let's talk about the things that people don't discuss being an entrepreneur. Can you give some tips that people may not expect, going out there trying to do things on their own, or, downgrading from other positions? Can you
Mhm.
give something that you may have experienced, or people that experienced it, switching and transitioning into the entrepreneur world?
Yeah, I think one of the things is recognizing, or I mean, I think people the concept, they understand that it's all on you. Like you now are the one that has to like make it work and bringing in the income and bringing in clients, etc. But you don't realize how much it really is you until you're in it and you realize, oh no, this if I don't go out and network or if I don't go out and do this, it's not going to happen. Compared to when you're working for somebody else, they have a whole team or they're doing all the work. You just show up,
Right.
and do your one,
And
your
clock
whatever
in.
role. Yeah, you clock in, do whatever role you're assigned, and you clock out, right? And so I think that was something that was um surprising to me in the sense of like there was a lot of things I had to do. And like building a website and things like that I did not realize like, oh, there's a lot of levels to this. It's not just I think sometimes people think like I'm gonna start this business and it's like I'm just gonna put everything on Instagram. That's another thing. I would say this is another thing. Social media. It seems like social media is gonna bring in income. Social media does not bring in income. Like your clients, you might find some clients, but even if you have a lot of followers, that doesn't necessarily mean these followers are gonna buy from you.
Mhm.
They'll like, and those lot of followers you get might help you partner with those social media platforms to make money through the social media platform. But when it comes to like clients and stuff, like that's not a guarantee. You have to actually go out in the field and really network and put
Engage,
your
right.
engage. So like I talked to clients who are more quote unquote introverts, and they're like, I gotta network and I have to be engaging, and that's not something I like to do. And you realize you have to be a social butterfly to an extent when you're entrepreneurs. I think some of those things they don't realize how much you have to put yourself out there, which is why the doubt and the fear can get so loud
Mm-hmm.
because it requires you to have to show up as yourself. Because also people, the more you are yourself, the more you're passionate and talk about your business authentically, the more people will buy in, right? But then if you're trying to sound or be like others, or have a niche that's like somebody else's, or have your business sound or look like somebody else's, it's not going to stand out. And but the more you are your raw, authentic self, the more people want to know more about you and your business. And um, getting past that would be for some the most challenging piece, um, because you got to really put yourself out there in that way.
Yeah, I believe that, entrepreneurs, we definitely have to build those relationships because
Hmm.
if we
Hmm.
don't build those relationships and you're just marketing, there we in a society where people want to see us. So it's like you're marketing, but they're like, well, who is it? Who is this person
Yeah,
marketing?
yeah,
Are you engaging with your followers? Are you engaging with the people that you're, sending messages with? And are you being consistent and following up? Because that's a big
yeah.
thing that you have to do with following up. I know that
Hmm.
when I started my entrepreneurship, I went to a whole bunch of networking events and I would get all these business cards. And in the beginning, I was like, not following up. I was like, yeah, I'll follow up. And then I was like, I am messing up the opportunity
Yeah.
to be able to connect with these people for one,
Hmm.
to get more
Hmm.
clientele for my business, and to really have the stream of income that I desire. So when you build those relationships, go to those networking events, and then be consistent in following up, that's the goal of how you can get out of your own way. Because
Hmm.
sometimes we do get
Hmm.
our own way, get in the way of our ourselves, and we are at times hard on ourselves.
Hmm. Hmm.
But I
Hmm.
believe that when we give ourselves grace and when we understand that there are certain seasons for things, that it makes it easier with the process of being an entrepreneur or being a business owner. And we can see the light coming in the future, when
Yeah,
you look at it from
yeah.
that way, not so negative,
Hmm.
not so much negative.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
can you share? So we haven't even got into this yet, but we were talking offline that you had also written a book.
Yes, yes. Hmm. Hmm.
So how did you get into becoming an author?
Let me tell you, this was another thing that was I was author Natasha Bryant and author again. That was not on the bucket list. Not even a dream. Like it wasn't even a thought. I'm thinking like, what am I going to write about? Like what, that wasn't even a thought. But this is how I know, and for those who are believers, this is how you know that you're on the right track because God will just download so many ideas that you didn't even think of. So, like I said, I had my LLC at the end of December. So I didn't really start, my business didn't really start until 2021 in
Mhm.
January, right? That's when it was officially open, right? But I didn't
Right.
start actually seeing clients and building a caseload until March. So from January to March, I am now like just trying to build, like get a website and do all that, right? And so there are different things that I'm doing. Like I've never built a website a day in my life. I'm over here building my own website. I
You
now
did your
built
own
3 websites.
website.
I did.
Wow.
Again,
Okay.
this is an example of how like I I could do creative things, but I didn't think of myself as a creative.
Mhm.
And then as I'm doing things, people are like, "You put your own website?" I'm like, I
That's
just
what I
and
just
to me, I downplay it. For me, I downplay like, yeah, I just watch YouTube videos. Like YouTube University, I'm like in the
said. Okay,
doctorate
yes.
program. I'm in a doctorate program at YouTube University at this point.
I'm a scholar
So
for YouTube University, girl.
listen. So I would just downplay, like, yeah, I just watch a YouTube video. And then somebody said, yeah, girl, I watched a YouTube video. I still couldn't do it. So it was like moments like that where I realized, like, oh, like these are gifts, right? This is more than just like, anybody can do this. And so while I'm doing all this, God then, my first book is a planner. It's called Live and Speak Life. It's a daily planner. And he first downloaded that. I mean, and I wrote that planner in probably a month or 2 months. That's how fast he downloaded that information. So that was my first book. My first book was a planner, and it went along with my course, which was called something different back then. You know, as entrepreneurs, you end up evolving. It was called something different back then, but now it's Legacy Launch, and it aligns with that. And so it helps you. It's like a task planner. After it helps you with writing affirmations, to journal within it, organizer. It's like an all-in-one type of planner. And so I started off with that one, and I published that. And then the following year, he gave me the idea of doing a coloring book. So I was thinking about doing something, and my friend was like, "Oh, you should make this." Doing something with affirmations. And my friend was like, "Oh, you should do." I was thinking of doing affirmation cards initially. She's like, "Oh, you should do it as a coloring book." And I was like, "Oh, that's not a bad idea." So that was I was being slow with it though. I was like taking forever to write the poetry, the affirmations, and God again, which is like downloading. Anytime I would get an idea of an affirmation, I would immediately just write it in my notes app on my phone, and then I end up coming up with a bunch of affirmation poetry. So my first book, which is this one, it's My Self Talk Speaks Life. So it's all about. Sorry, I'm trying to get the camera. There we go. It's all about speaking life into whatever you do. And so that has affirmation poetry inside, and it also has coloring designs. So it's an adult coloring book, but also older teens, like 16 and up, can really enjoy this affirmation, the affirmations within it as well, and the coloring books within inside as well. And I was done after that. I was like, listen, God, I can't do it year after year. I did the planner. Then I did the coloring book. I was like, look, Lord, I cannot do another one, right? So then this last year around, actually probably was like around this time, summertime, he gave me this idea of doing a journal. And I was like, Lord, I cannot do another book. Like, I need a break. I'm done. Because I just kept producing things. Like if it wasn't a journal, it was something else. Like I just kept producing. And I'm like, Lord, I am exhausted. I cannot produce another thing. And so I dragged my feet on this. I'm not even gonna play y'all. When I say dragged my feet, I was like, oh, I'll do this journal here. I started and I did a total halt and then touch it for like 3 months.
Wow.
And then I shared it with my friend. We went on a trip in August. I shared it with her. She's like, "Oh, you should really." She's like, "Oh, this would be great. You could make this into a course." Like she was just giving me all this download. I'm like,
stuff
all
too.
right, load. I was like, all right, God, I hear you. This can be bigger. This is gonna be something big. It's not
Lord Shepherd. That's what it sounds like.
Listen. And so then fall of last year, I started wanted to get more into speaking. So I was looking into like investing in some coaching on speaking and just educating myself on what that means, what that looks like to be a speaker. And so I joined this speaking program, and I joined it in October. Okay, after like the second uh, meeting or workshop that I was in, she was like, "Okay, so we're gonna have a challenge. Write a book in 30 days." I said, "You know what, Lord." And so I said, "Okay, Lord, I hear you. I got to finish this book." Okay. So I took the challenge. I finished the journal because it wasn't almost done, but it was like pretty much halfway there. So I wrote it in 30 days, finished it in 30 days.
Funny. I'm sorry.
Listen, you see how God be doing? This is how you know you're in your purpose when he keeps like stuff like this. So I wrote it in 30 days to meet the challenge. And then I did everything I needed to do to like publish. So all my stuff is self-published. I did everything self-publishing. But this journal, which is this one, I did everything. I did the designs. It's all me. The only thing I didn't do was the editing. I did pay someone to do the editing on this one. But yeah, it's called Hello Me. It's nice to meet you. It's all about really finding your authentic self. And I mentioned that earlier about how important it is to really show up as your authentic self. But the only way you can really be your authentic self is if you heal in the places that need to be healed in. And so this book has 12 different chapters with 12 different healing points. And each healing point is based on healing areas that as a therapist, I recognize are the most common areas that people need to heal in to really reach their full potential, their full healing and their full personal growth. And so it's healing points like fear, limiting beliefs, relationships, boundary setting, core values, like I talked about, goal setting, like I talked about, all these different things, all these different areas that if you heal in these areas, you really will be able to find who you are, and be able to show up as your authentic self. So it's all about self-discovery. It's all about that self-actualization. And there's journal prompts inside, and the journal prompts are all connected to things that I would challenge my clients to think about and reflect on and process in therapy. And then there's also activities, and these are activities that most of these activities I've done in therapy with my clients. So it's like having a therapist without being in a therapy
in your
session.
pocket.
But
It's like having one in your
it's like
pocket.
having a therapist in your pocket, yes. And it's a great companion to have if you are in therapy, because this can help you do the work that you're working on in therapy, can help you do the work when you're not in your therapy sessions, between your sessions. This is a great tool to have to do the work with. So I finished that in February of this year, and that's when that one was launched. So yeah, and I told God, I can't do another one, Lord. I can't. Let it breathe. Let this be the last one, please, Lord. Not forever, but just for right now.
I think you got
Just
3
for
more
right
books
now.
in you. I'm just saying. An
3
author
more
of
books,
4
Lord
books over
Jesus.
here. So I think you got at least 3 more books in you. We might as well go all the way, right?
Oh, listen. I have a couple ebooks on my website as well.
There you go.
SpeakLifeTransformation.com. Go click on the tab LSL store. That's my online store. Live and Speak Life is the online store. You can find these books, and you can find also some other workbooks that are all about helping you really with your self-help, self-healing to really reach your best life. You can start living your best life as your best self unapologetically.
Let's go. Let's go. So we obviously want everybody to go on your website and browse and purchase one of your books to help support you. Can you give us, because not all, but majority, well, maybe just my family, I don't know, possibly. But I'm not gonna say we. I grew up in a household where it's like you don't tell people to your business. You don't. What stays in the house, what goes on in the house stays in the house. But as I got older, I was like, no, there's a part of healing that needs to happen, and it's something that you may have to get some advice from other people. Can you give us one nugget in regards to something that people may need to look forward to or start doing as far as from like a healing process?
Yeah, I would say, healing requires work. Can we be honest? Let's not not make it seem like it's not going to be hard work. It is going to be hard work. It's something that requires you to be really committed to yourself, right? But the thing about the healing though is when you really allow yourself to just go all in for yourself, you choose you, because when you're choosing healing, you're choosing you, right? When you choose yourself, you end up learning so much more about yourself in ways that helps you to really be able to connect the dots. That's one thing I love about therapy. I just had just started seeing a new client. She never had therapy before, and she was just like, same. She's an African American woman. Same story that many of us have. You don't tell people your business, like you were just saying. And she, obviously she has friends, she has a support system, but she was like, I can't tell them all my business, right? Like I don't want to dump on them, but also there's something that I just don't want them to know about, right? There's some things that I don't want to talk about. And after our session, she was like, thank you so much for listening. Like she felt so relieved that she could just have somebody just to talk to. And there isn't any type of judgment. There isn't any type of opinions that I'm putting onto her. And that's the great thing about therapy. If you start your healing process in therapy, is that as professionals, we are here. We have done the work education wise to know how to listen without judgment, to know how to listen without putting our own opinions on you, know how to listen, but to not only just know how to listen, but also to understand how your brain is functioning and working and how it connects to how your actions and feelings are showing up, right? And so we are able to help you connect those dots that you may not be able to recognize. Because also we all know when you're in it, your vision is a little blurry, right?
Yes.
When you're in it, You
Just
know,
like
like
relationships. Go ahead.
exactly just like a relationship, right? Yeah, like when you're in it, things are a little foggy. You know, and your perception is a little jaded, right? Based on how you want to see it or just based on your experiences. When you have an outside professional, like, oh, let me actually help you understand this connection I just noticed, right? Or did you notice when you said this, you responded this way, or your body shifted, or I noticed that you tensed up when we talked about this, right? There's different things that we are able to point out. They're like, I didn't even realize that, right? Or a lot of aha moments I have with my clients in session is when we talked about one thing, like this one client I'm working on, we're working with, been talking about, confidence, and we were able to recognize in one area where she was struggling with confidence when she thought she was a really confident person, not that she's really down on herself, but she's realizing, like, oh, I'm actually really worried and concerned about what other people think about me. I didn't think it was that deep, but now that we're talking about this, I realize that this is actually something that I need to work on. And then through that, I was able to help her to connect to other areas in her life where it was showing up. And it was starting to make a whole picture. Instead of looking at it in pieces, we were able to bring all these pieces together and bring one big picture for her to really see, like, I get it now. Now I know what steps I need to make or what areas I need to focus on myself to grow. And so I would say with therapy, that is the nugget, is really like just honestly, and even if you're doing it on your own, allow yourself to be open to the journey, even if it's hard or even if it feels uncomfortable. Allow yourself to still go through it. You have to go through it in order to get to the other side.
I love that. I love that. Now, your practice, where are you located? I'm sorry.
So I'm located in Philadelphia, but I am all virtual. So I'm licensed in Pennsylvania and I'm licensed in New Jersey. So if you reside in New Jersey or PA, I'm your girl.
Okay, okay. And do you accept insurance, or is it a cash or scale? What is it? Pay scale, I think it's called. What type of payment methods do you accept?
Yeah, so I private pay.
Okay.
And but if you have insurance, if you have like an HSA or FSA account, you can totally use that towards therapy because that is a medical expense. Also, I would be considered an out of network provider. So if you have out of network benefits with your health insurance, then you could use your out of network benefits to help pay towards any expenses you made in therapy.
Good to know. I didn't know that. Thank you for those
Mhm,
nuggets. Thank
mhm,
you for those
mhm.
nuggets. Before we get into a couple of our last conversational questions, I did want to go into a short commercial. So one moment here. We're going to be showing a commercial in regards to last season of the self-love seminar. We do have the seminar coming up, the 4th annual seminar coming up this year, November 23rd. So we'll go into a
Okay.
little short commercial to let people know, how everything went last year in regards to the seminar.
I reaffirm my dedication to do the work, to unlock, live, and rediscover the purpose of what God has given me. I love me. Unapologetically.
To know that God is working. Now I want to show you something on the screen right now that God did for me. July the 5th. Ready? Now, I didn't get to tell you because I was saving some of this. But from 7 years old, so at the age of 20, I started praying for my husband. And I thought,
rejection has been that thing in my life that I've been like, man, it seems like every time I turn around, somebody's telling me no. The word no, always no. And for the longest time, it was that thing that made me just fell back, right? And I'm like, no, all right, look, it's not my time. I wasn't owning what was before.
Search for it in my world around me. I get intimately connected to it. In January of 2023, this will resonate with some people. My word, the prayer that I gave, my word for 2020. Blame that boss, blame that chick who's across the hall, blame it. We are blaming people, but it's hiding. We also call it, we get frustrated when we can't identify the truth. We can know the truth and still lie.
Hey guys, welcome back. So if you're just joining us, we are with the lovely Natasha, who is 14 years experience of a mental health expert. And she's been giving us some nuggets in regards to entrepreneurship, the ups and downs, and, just letting everyone know what the process is of starting your own business, how she started her business, and, just encouraging others to stay committed if you do decide to start a business. So if you have any questions or nuggets, for free, this is the time to drop those nuggets while we have her online. Just say it. And make sure you watch the replay as we are slowly getting to the end, but make sure you watch the replay because she definitely has some amazing books on her website. We'll go over that information in just a moment. But there is a couple of questions I wanted to ask you before we close out. And one of the questions was, if you could give advice to anyone that's listening, what would it be and why?
That's a really good question. The advice that I would give is to never silence your own voice. I think we end up the second guessing, the self-doubt, the fear often happens when we end up silencing our own voice. We don't end up trusting ourselves for whatever reason. The comparison kills, as the phrase goes. Like all those different things happen all the things happen and stick when we choose to feel like what we have to say may not be the right thing, right? It's really pushing yourself or forcing yourself to be perfect or do things perfectly or question if I am enough or am I doing enough or what I'm thinking or how I'm showing up, if that is enough. And that all those things cause you to just be silent and lose who you are. So really allowing yourself to trust yourself, be okay with being imperfect, honor your truth, live in the now. Don't get so caught up in what happened in the past or what's about to happen or what's going to happen in the future. And those things can really help you then really show up as your authentic self, which is what will then allow you to unapologetically go after whatever it is that you truly desire.
I love that. I love that. And to add to that, she can help you. She definitely can help you get into the process of learning who
Yes,
you are,
yes.
becoming confident who you are. Just to
Mhm.
reiterate that, and for the people that's listening, audio version, can you give us where they can find you, where they can reach out to you, and what you specialize in?
Yes, yes. So I have a few hats. So one thing I do is psychotherapy, and I see individuals 14 and up, and I also do couples therapy as well. I specialize when it comes to therapy. I specialize in anxiety and depression, low self-esteem, life transitions. If you transitioning in life, starting a new job, want to start a new business, empty nest, divorce, breakup, any type of life transition that's causing stress, that maybe causing you to feel anxious or worried or feeling or having depressed symptoms. Those are some of the things. Grief and loss are some of the things that I specialize in therapy. So like I said earlier, if you are located in Pennsylvania and or New Jersey, then we can be able to work together. I do everything online, virtual through telehealth. The other thing I do is confidence mindset coaching. That's specifically for women leaders, entrepreneurs, thought leaders, um, who are either wanting to start a business or wanting to follow their passion, but there's fear and doubt stopping them, and or they started their business, they're following their dream, but now it's time to take it to the next level, and fear and doubt is stopping them. And so what I love to do is I love to help women go from being hesitant in pursuing their passion to walking in it with a confident mindset. And so my coaching with my course, Legacy Launch, which is an online group coaching course. It's all about providing with the tips and skill sets to really shift that mindset to one, knowing who you are authentically, defining what it is that you want in your life, and how to actually go after that with a confident mindset. And so that's what I do on the coaching side. And I also do speaking. So if you are looking for someone to speak at your event to empower women, talk about purpose, talk about confident mindset, boundary setting, life balance, mental self-care. Those are some of the things that I do focus on. And if you're looking for someone to focus on any of those type of topics at your next event, then I am your girl as well for that.
And what's the website again, lady?
Yes, so there's two websites.
Okay.
There is speaklifetransformation.com. That's where you'll find everything regarding my services for therapy and coaching. And then there is natashabspeaks.com. And that's where you go for speaking. That has all my speaking information. And you can go there. Either website, you can be able to access either or. In the footer of every website, or both of those websites, you can access either website. So if you go to speaklifetransformation.com, you check the footer, it will say, book Natasha. You can just click that and it'll take you right to the natashabspeaks.com.
Yeah, so viewers, make sure you go out and book her. I definitely encourage you to go out and purchase her book. She has several books out there to help you with self-care and therapy too, because I believe that coloring is definitely a mental therapy thing.
Yeah,
To release
I
any
love
stress you may be experiencing.
Yes, that's the whole point. Like on my website, you'll see there's a healing bundle. So the healing bundle is where you get the journal and the coloring book plus affirmation journal. Affirmation jar. Inside the jar is affirmation cards with quotes that come directly from the affirmation poetry inside the coloring book. Because when we're journaling, it can be a lot. Journaling can be a lot. It can bring up a lot of emotions, and you might need a mental reset. And so coloring is a great way to have that mental reset to, to do some emotional regulation, do some de-stressing, and really be able to help yourself just regulate after doing some journaling. So yeah. And I have one other thing I totally forgot. My TV show is starting season 2. So excited about season 2 of Unapologetic Living with Natasha. It is launching on June 27th. You can also check out season 1.
Next
if you go
week.
to yes. I was like, I had to remember, like, wait a minute. So yes, I have a TV show. It's called Unapologetic Living with Natasha. It's all about living unapologetically. Season 1, it was a lot of episodes of me giving you tips and tricks on how to live unapologetically. And then I had some special episodes called Unapologetic Living, the Unapologetic Circle, where I had some guests and we talked about different concepts of the living unapologetically. So that's season 1. Season 2 is where I interviewed different guests in their whatever location they decided that represented them and really showcase who they are. And we just talked about their journey of being unapologetic, whether it's owning a business and how to be unapologetic with all the ups and downs like we talked about today, or if it was like having a family and be an entrepreneur and within a family at the same time. So super excited about season 2. You can go to themoguls.tv to check out season 1 and also check out season 2 when it launches on the 27th. You can also watch it on Amazon Fire and also Roku. All you have to do is download the app, the Moguls, Mogul TV Global Network, and download that app, and then you'll be able to watch it on Amazon Fire and or Roku.
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much for your knowledge. We appreciate you for joining us today. We don't have any questions or comments. Before we close out, there is one question we do ask all of our guest speakers, and that is, what makes you uncommon?
What makes me uncommon? I have to say I'm super silly. And I and if you watch my videos on my Instagram, TikTok as Speak Like Transformation, or on my YouTube, Speak Like Transformation TV, you'll see I'm just my raw, authentic self. And I would feel like that is what is one of the things that just makes me uncommon is that I I'm okay with just being silly, goofy. I don't work on like even if there's mistakes on a video I'm doing, I'm like, y'all saw this mistake. We're gonna keep it moving. Like I'll point it out. So I just feel like my humor and being silly and not taking myself seriously makes me uncommon is what also helps me get through the ups and downs we talked about today for sure as well. So yeah.
I love it. I love you. Well, thank you for being genuine today, dropping your
Mhm.
knowledge. Be sure to check her out. She is a one-stop shop. Okay. She is a one-stop shop. So you don't need to go any further. You know, if you need an
Yeah.
affirmation journal, she got you. If you need to heal, she got you. She is a one-stop shop. So I love you. And she's local. She's local to where we're at for those that are local in the
Mhm.
Chesapeake area. She's definitely local. So make sure you check out her website, Speak Life Transformation. Natasha, I appreciate you for coming out today. It was
Yes,
such a
thank you for
pleasure
having me.
talking with you. And everyone that's viewing, if you have any questions in regards to the seminar, be sure to check us out on our website at uncommonwomen.net. You get all your information there. If you're interested in being a guest speaker and you want to share your testimony and be on our show, we are filled for season. What season am I in? Season 6. Sorry. We are filled for
Nice. Okay,
season
season
6.
6.
But we are taking people for season 7. Be sure to email us at uncommonwomenpodcast@gmail.com and we'll get you in for season 7. Thank you again for tuning in to Uncommon Women. Be sure to follow and subscribe and share to our YouTube channel. And always remember to stay uncommon. Bye.
We hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you've been shacking up with us for a while and haven't subscribed to our channel, what are you waiting for? Please like and subscribe to Uncommon Woman so you won't miss another episode. And remember, don't let anything or anyone affect your peace. Good vibes and stay uncommon.